to a new episode of Flower Circus Talks, episode number 99 already, so close to 100. Today, special friend of mine from the US. He's traveling a lot of conventions going on in the US. I want to talk about what's happening there because we had the interview lately with Michael Black and Alejandro Genao about that there's not enough roses, there's not enough flowers. I just want to know what's happening in the US. How are florists coping with the deficit of flowers? So who's better to ask than Sahid Nahim? So let's quickly get him into the live stream. And there he is.
Hey, hocus pocus, a magic
Yeah,
trick.
the magic, like always.
I first want to thank you, John. Nice to see you, man. But I want to thank you for letting me on here, asking me on. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with you, and soon I need to bring you on to the Bloom Show for sure. Love, I like to hear about other aspects of our industry, so that's amazing. And the most importantly, congratulations. I wish I would have been number 100. But 99, I'll take. 99 is a cool number. So I know how much work it takes. So congratulations on that, man. It's a dedication. Ryan Black told me, like, I think it was like 6-7 months ago. He goes, everybody tries to start these things, but they don't continue.
Yeah.
So my hat goes off to you for continuing. I haven't counted how many I've done, but I guess I will to see if I can catch up now.
Yeah, it's no, you're doing a great job with the Bloom Show. I mean, seeing them all, and for the people who haven't seen it, go to the Bloom Show because there's a lot of information and there's a lot of things going on in the industry, and you're always spot on with the information, and that's why you're here as well. You're at the SA, or at the moment you're in the hotel, but you're at the SAF.
As you can see, yeah.
Yeah. So how's the convention going? I mean, we in Europe are still waiting for exhibitions to happen, trade shows to happen, but in the US, I mean, you are flying from one state to another.
So driving, but and the good thing I'm in Miami, so it's been easy to kind of get around. They're canceling PMA, I believe, so I won't be traveling there. But it's going well. SAF has really revitalized. You could sense the energy, the optimism. I've heard from a lot of vendors that it was good business wise, many connections, many just connections again. And I think that's important. It's that personal connection, talking about business, speaking about the future, being able to now say, okay, let's start investing in the business, or I want to grow. And so a lot of optimism, a lot of energy. And the greatest thing I enjoyed was all the classes. There was a lot of education based on e-commerce,
Okay.
So it was very exciting to see that. And it was exciting to see how full the classes were. So, the industry's realizing after COVID or during COVID, not after, because we're still in it, but throughout COVID, we realized how important e-commerce is. So there was a digital marketing class, redo your website class. There was many things that were very interesting and of much value to everybody involved. So you saw vendors in there, you saw florists watching and participating. Vendors as well. So I think that was the best part I took out of this.
I mean, that's great. I mean, we all knew that it was e-commerce was coming up. I think COVID speeded things up enormously.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people tried it first, but didn't know where to start because it's really specific. I mean, with Flower Circus doing digital marketing, but you can already say that's something totally different than the normal marketing out there. So for a florist to make a website or to know what website they want, let alone make their own website, it's quite difficult.
Yeah. Yes, it's very difficult because they're artistic in their own nature. So to create a website for them or with them or them along, and then there's a time.
Yeah.
They can't do it on their own either. But sometimes some can. There's some florists, and many of them, and all of them are multitaskers like yourself. Look, you're on the show today.
Yeah.
It's really a learning curve. It's always good to get a professional, but it's always good to find education and for organizations like SAF to support that education and put it in front of them, because sometimes we're too busy to realize that we need it until we're told by one person, two people, three, four, and five, and then you're okay, I'll do it. And that's how we're going to grow the industry, by getting the word out, by saying, now technology is coming. Where are you going? Technology is headed somewhere. Are you going with technology? And if you are going with the technology, you have the best chances of growing and surviving and becoming the best you can be as a company.
Yeah, I think that the role of a florist or a traditional florist is changing, like it was for a traditional grower many years ago, when there was one person walking through his greenhouse. And if you're now the owner of a greenhouse or a growing company, you're not as much in the greenhouse, or at least not doing the work of cutting the roses or the flowers.
Yeah. I think the industry is changing a bit. There's companies that are concentrating on e-commerce, servicing e-commerce companies. You see many different companies getting into the e-commerce game, either direct to florists or direct to wholesalers or direct to consumer. So you're seeing a lot of that in different aspects. And then the florists, obviously, right during COVID, I think we've talked about it. There's a new type of florist. There's the Instagram florist. That is a business model we need to look at. We don't know how long they're going to survive. I hate to say that, but it's just like in 2008. You had the new florists that started developing in their basement. We call them, there's a nice name for them, and this isn't a bad name, but basement Betties. Which they started using their basements as their studios. Now you have what I coined the kitchen Kellys. Now they're developing their studio in the kitchen, because now they're in apartments. But they're using social media for the platform and to get it out there, from Facebook to Instagram, and it's working. It's a model. I consult for a wholesaler, and we've seen the growth in that particular type of customer. And we hope that it's sustainable, because you hope that if the more you support them, the more you help them in their business growth, the longer they're going to survive. And then they become a full-fledged, even though they are full-fledged. So it's not that I'm judging you guys, but then they get to a level that they open e-commerce, that they're doing many more weddings, they're growing. And that's the thing, is outside of an industry, as long as we support them, I think they have the best potential to survive and grow.
Yeah, I think some of them started it partly as hobby, or didn't have anything to do, and then some of them will grow out to be even a huge company probably, and others will keep in that hobby part and will disappear eventually. But I mean, I think we can, as a traditional florist, you can learn a lot from those people, how they are marketing their flowers, what they're doing. Of course, maybe they don't have the florist skills as florists have, but still, the way they present it, we can learn a lot from them.
And other styles are coming out too. That's what's interesting as well. I've seen some, I do the show for Berkeley's as well. And even from the beginning, how long have you been in business? A year and a half. Or how long have you been in business? To be exact, since March. And it all started then, and then they kind of created their own style, from skills they learned or skills they just kind of came up with. So it's been impressive to watch.
Yeah, and let's be honest, nowadays, if you want to learn something, you just turn on YouTube and you will watch for an hour or two or three or a week.
Yes, but you have people like yourself too that are giving that information, educating. And then during COVID, let's not forget, you had florists doing virtual workshops for their customer. So that opened a lot of eyes, and that gave that customer that's always thought, oh, that would be such an interesting industry to get into, to kind of dip their toes in it. And then after dipping their toes, either they like it and they continue pushing through it, because it's a passion. It's not an easy industry. Someone was talking to me yesterday. People think flowers are so beautiful and so happy, but it's a grind. It's a tough job early in the morning, and nerves, and making sure your orders go out. So you hope that they survive that, and then once they survive that, the industry continues to grow. But we saw that in 2008. A lot of our floral celebrities came from 2008, 2010. That's where they came from, and the business model changed in the United States at that time. We were very brick and mortar back then. We were very separated. There was the floor shop, the dailies, and then the weddings, and it kind of started merging. Now it's a little bit of everything. There's the way, the specialists, but
Yeah,
it started merging, and they weren't always in a storefront. They started basement bedding thing
yeah. I mean, and that's not a bad thing, but I think now
at
we
all.
see a whole new thing coming up as well, or that's what I hear around. It's like people in the US are buying flowers for themselves. That's what
Yes.
we always were hoping for.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, oh, we can build a greenhouse over half the planet because we need so many flowers. But it's really happening, and it gives us so many new challenges as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And in what sense? What kind of challenge are you saying? Because of
Getting the flowers to the people. I mean, for example, I worked for a small export company in Holland when I was back in the days when I was still young, and we were just buying flowers. We never thought about transport because there was always transport, and enough flowers because we never sold everything from a grower. And then I switched jobs to a company who sold to the English supermarkets,
Mhm.
and I was offering them this and this. And then somebody told me, he said, "But are you sure you have enough?" And I said, "Why?" "Oh, they're probably going to order a couple of million." And I was like, "Okay." And do we have enough transport? And you're thinking of that's a
Oh
whole
yes.
different level.
Yeah.
And that's what we see now as well. I mean, uh, yeah, people are thinking, do we have enough transport? Of course, it doesn't help that there's not enough planes flying around the world at the moment. But all those things, yeah, do we
And
have
it's not.
enough
And it's
delivery?
yeah, and manufacturing, right?
Yeah,
I spoke to Jacobson the other day, a wholesaler, and just hard goods and just the manufacturing, the getting the product from China. China's ports have been closing for weeks at a time,
yeah,
so that's another thing. So the supplies, the flowers, yes, the flowers. I just kind of read something real quick today that big flights were canceled out of Ecuador, something of that nature. Don't want to scare anybody, but
yeah,
just heard something like that. So it has been a labor issue, a
yeah,
logistics issue, very, very much so. Look at, I had David Armelini in Prime on the show, Woofsa,
yeah,
and they're changing their model because they're having to adjust. They're having to adjust and survive, and everybody, it kind of affects everybody. So yeah, it is. We're not in the clear yet. I think we're going to learn a lot of things when we get out of this. I have heard the trend for florists is to order early now. They
yeah,
tend to order early, understanding that, and I encourage more of that. Just like you and I both always say it, that the more communication you have, the more it helps everybody involved. And the earlier you're able to get that information as a wholesaler or distributor, the earlier you could react, or earlier you could prepare and have plan B, A, B, and C for your florist, for your customer. So we should all have that message out there because it allows the funnel, as you could say,
yeah,
just to flow better.
yeah,
And it's not going to flow 100% all the time, but if you're communicating with your wholesaler, distributor throughout and farm, there's more options and possibilities and chances of fixing things before you're not going to get your product.
yeah. And let's
Plain
be
solution.
honest, if you look at most of the florists, they have a certain assortment which is always there. So why shouldn't you get a fixed order for, I don't know, 70% or something? So you always have, you're not overbuying, but you have enough in stock, and you can always say, okay, just add one or two boxes.
Yes.
But to have something that's always there every week, it helps the whole chain so much. I mean, it's uh, we've been crazy. I mean, if you look in Holland, people from the UK could order until noon, and the other day before they opened the shop, they already had their flowers in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they didn't even have to think. I mean, they could say, "Oh, I just sold a bucket of roses or 100 roses. Let's
Uh-huh.
order them tomorrow morning. I've got fresh ones already."
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's habit forming, that's
yeah,
habit forming. But that's also a model. They need that is the service. They need that
yeah,
because there's situations that call for that. But as you said, 70%. If and you know more than I do when it comes to that aspect of your daily work. But if you could do 70%, amazing. I always say, look, 25, 30, any percentage because you're at least securing that.
yeah,
And then you get Yeah, but sometimes you'll cancel or you're that, that happens too. But
Yeah.
you have your hat in the game. You have, it's kind of like having 20 tickets versus one ticket in a raffle.
Yeah.
And if you have 20 tickets, you're gonna get something. Hopefully, it's the odds. So it's better to put your order in early, and communicate with your wholesaler distributor, and also don't order by variety in some cases. Order by color. There's many things you can do to support the industry as well.
I think the ordering on variety, we make it ourselves so difficult sometimes. Customer come in and they say, oh, I've seen this on Pinterest. There are 20 filters over the picture, so you can't even see if what kind of variety it was. But then they say, that's this variety. Okay, you need this variety, cafe au lait, or and then they directly limited themselves so much as a florist
Yeah.
because they're looking for the color, they're looking for the style, and not for the typical variety. That the variety which you need to order. That's
Yes.
good because you're the specialist. But why should you tell the customer? The customer comes in and he isn't ordering specific. I mean, the customers that come in and order a specific variety, that's just a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're buying the whole style, how it looks, and that's why they come with Pinterest pictures and say, okay, I want to have it to look like this. I know that it costs 10,000, but I wanted to do it for 500.
Yeah.
That's the average customer.
And that rose looks like it's on a bush in the middle of a field, but you have 1,000 of those stems.
Yeah.
So we run into that a lot, but the power of digital marketing, right?
Yeah.
It works for us and works against us in some cases, I guess.
Yeah, it has to work for us, and that's why
Of course.
don't limit yourself as a
Yeah.
florist and selling by variety. I mean, that mistake was something also what we did selling to the supermarkets, and we said, okay, we have a bouquet with this and this variety, and then it was selling so well, we had to say, we said, okay, we can't sell anymore. We need to have a replacement, which was a lookalike 99%. But they said, I don't know, and then you already have a problem.
Yeah, I think many florists are taking up that habit, as well. But to be a devil's advocate, I think that it's also the consumer that's much more well educated because of Pinterest,
Yeah,
because of social, and they're coming in and in some cases asking for a particular variety. So there's also that aspect of it.
yeah,
Um, but I have seen and heard that they're more color driven versus variety driven, and that just gives you so many more opportunities to problem solve and also give your wholesaler, the funnel, your distributor, a opportunity to help you and save you and have more options for you if you're
yeah,
doing it by color versus variety.
yeah.
Keep the funnel going.
I mean, that's the most important thing. Now,
Yeah.
with all the florist associations that are at the SAF as well, how do they see the whole situation? How do they see the coming year in terms of prices, opportunities that are there for the florists?
They again, I go back to e-commerce, and digital. In this, SAF was all digital marketing classes, all e-commerce, how to better your e-commerce. All the courses were full, so they're seeing opportunity there. They're
Okay.
seeing opportunity there. They're optimistic about the opportunity there. They're just learning of everything that gives them the potential to grow. So it's just very optimistic. I think they're communicating, and in many cases, they're also understanding the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
And from there, they're being patient. That's for sure. When it comes to product, it's in our faces. It's there. There's logistics. We're kind of getting used to it, right? And sometimes when you get
Yeah.
used to things, you forget what the issues are behind it.
Yeah.
But I think that we're being reminded. But we're thankful that we're thankful there's business. We're thankful for their business, and there's two thoughts. How long is it going to last? Is it going to last for 2 years, 3 years? Is it what's going to happen? But it just prepare for it. Just
Yeah.
prepare for the best or worst. But I think there's not going to be worse. But gosh, I might regret saying those words. But 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 there's a lot of optimism. I think that's what I got out of SAF is a lot of optimism, and it's important. And then speaking with all the associations we spoke with, they're just really willing to help. They understand that there's a need out there.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple marketing boards and marketing initiatives that are happening with a couple of associations to put a unified voice to flowers.
Yeah.
So if you kind of caught a couple of the interviews we did during SAF, so that's a great thing to see. They're understanding the value of marketing now, of getting that message out. Like Got Milk commercial. I think I even spoke to you about this last time. People were laughing. Oh, Got Milk, yeah. Got Flowers.
Yeah.
And if we do something like that as a unified, just like say buy flowers, not toilet papers. That went viral.
Yeah.
That was viral. That was a successful campaign. And I think the industry, if we do that more together, Teleflor was showing a beautiful commercial yesterday. Teleflor is a wire service, but we could do that as an industry because flowers are so emotional that you have that impact of, gosh, I want to feel good today. Like you said, people are buying flowers for themselves, and that's a great thing. Demand has increased because the consumer's buying for themselves. They're buying just cause, right? That just cause.
I think it's part of the healthy lifestyle of people now. I mean, they realize they need to live more healthy, and I mean, how many studies are there that prove that flowers and plants are more healthy or make a healthier environment? So if you can make a commercial or something in that part, so okay, I mean, we're spending how many dollars a month going to the gym on vitamins and everything. Why shouldn't people spend a little bit more money on having a plant in the house, in every room, or a bouquet on the table? I mean, that's also part of the healthy lifestyle.
Exactly. And you just said it, plant business has grown 20, 30. I don't even know the number at this point, but a big percentage, the plant industry grew. And it's just about having life, having something to take care of, having something delicate and beautiful in your house. That emotion, color. Let's not forget the power of color. Color in itself. There's a whole psychological effect with color. So I think many people saw it. Trader Joe's. I remember my wife sneaking into Trader Joe's after a big old line of waiting for people and going straight to the flowers. And you go to the flowers and it was always almost empty at one point. It was amazing to watch because flowers create comfort. And I coined it, little coiny, flower smiles. You've never seen someone receive flowers without smiling. Flowers cause smile like that. You get flowers. Oh, that's even a man. The first thing you do is smile. What other thing does that? Except for, I guess, money. But
but that doesn't work for everybody. But flowers work for
everybody. Exactly. Even kids. I have a little niece. Gosh, you put her on a flower, she goes crazy. And it's beautiful to watch how she reacts to something so natural and delicate, and she touches it delicately and gives it to her mom and just has that emotion of touching the flowers. And that's the best form of watching it happen. Is her excitement with flowers at such a young age, and we take that with us forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's so simple sometimes. When I worked at a flower shop as well, just the broken flowers, just with a small stem, you couldn't make a bouquet out of it anymore. But you knew that in weekend there was some small children with their parents coming to the shop, and their parents were buying a bouquet, and you just gave away a small gerbera or a small rose, and you just gave it to the child, and they were so happy. The parents were happy, and it's sometimes with flowers, sometimes it's so easy. It's that
sometimes
easy.
so easy. I like you say it. Yeah, I like that you say that because it's so simple, but has such an impact. But it's so simple if we look at it as a consumer, but we forget, there's so many things behind it that made that one flower get there, which is so fun. And that's why we all enjoy the industry, because it's so dynamic and so multi-layered that it could be a lot of fun.
And we can tell tens of thousands of stories about every flower, and which other gift can do that?
Yeah, you're right. And flowers cause emotion, flowers cause moments, flowers cause memories, and they cause smiles as well.
I mean, that's really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, as I understand, the florist business will not be the same again. It will change again, like after 2008. People have to be more in or have to be, yeah, they go more into e-commerce. I mean, it's another way of selling, which is great. I mean, it's just an extra thing. I'm not saying that it's for free, but with some attention on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, you can reach quite a big audience, which you could never reach if you had a brick and mortar store. You were just hoping for people passing by and getting into your store.
It just think of it as a brick and mortar store, think of
Yeah,
that, and there's traffic happening, and search engine optimization helps get that traffic into your store like a billboard used to in a way, and then your social media gets the word out, word of mouth. So it's just so there's so many opportunities out there now. It's just up to the florists to decide, one, if they have the time, the finances, or if they believe in it. There's
yeah,
many florists that are super successful with having minimal attention to their social media or digital marketing, or don't even know what SEO stands for.
yeah,
It's hard to convert them.
yeah,
Obviously, they're happy where they're at. They're happy where they're at, and they're, hey, why do I need to do anything? I'm growing anyways. But then there's the floors that say, yes, this is the future, and either we catch up or it passes by us. And then it's not ever going to be too late, because you've got to always get into it. It is intimidating,
yeah,
but once you jump into it, it's just like swimming. It's like riding a bike. You get it. It like does take a lot of work, but that's why there's so many options, from Fiverr to do basic stuff, to Canva to do your own graphic design. There's so many tools nowadays to automate things, or there's services that really don't charge too much. Always make sure that you're vetting those services and keeping an eye on the results, and asking them to do the results for you. But it's an investment. You
yeah,
could learn it yourself, or you could hire someone else to do it. But it's worth looking into, because it's only going to create another channel for the floors and wholesalers. Let's think about that as well.
yeah,
Wholesalers as well, and distributors. There's a benefit in investing in e-commerce and digital marketing for sure,
yeah,
especially digital marketing of creating value to your customer and continuing a conversation. And
yeah.
that's super important when it comes to building business.
Yeah, I think it's not only sending information out; it's talking with the people who react as well, because it's not just sending out the information, because you never know if people like it or not. If they start interacting, then it's interesting for them, and then something is going on. I mean, like in your
Exactly.
shop, you got the customer in, and oh, you like this flower, then you probably like this and this and this as well, and then you have sold him a bigger bouquet than he eventually came for.
And that there is pretty simple in a way. So I use a lot of stories, right? And I use polls on the stories, and I'll put this color, and I believe that you could use that to understand your trends and your demands. If you
Yeah,
put it in, and I do it sometimes even for clients, where or I'm actually wondering if I should carry or represent that product. I'll put it on a couple of the social platforms that we have, and I'll see, oh wow, look, 90% said they love this. Okay, let's do it again. Oh, 80% said they love it. Then you have something. You're
yeah,
thinking in a positive way. So use those polls, and those surveys to kind of gauge where you go. Create two, holiday arrangements, and say, okay, which one do you like? And
yeah.
and then work off of that, and see if your clients, those are your customers. So if your customers are telling you something, you might want to listen. And if you have the tool to ask them, use it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities, and if you don't know how it works, just ask for help, because it's something totally new, and like you said, florists are very creative, and probably it looks good when they do something, but there has to be some kind of structure in it to make money out of it in the end.
Yeah. And even colors, your palettes, things like that, or even just normal products. I've thrown in some really interesting products, and I've had great results, like positive, yeah, and then some that I'm really supporting, and the audience says no.
Yeah,
They're like, this isn't good at all. Sometimes you have to go with your gut, but it is an opportunity to listen to comment. And let's not forget, just the conversations of having a personal conversation, or somewhat, on Instagram, let's say, and hey, how you doing? How are those? I see the flowers so lovely on your coffee table.
Yeah.
That is not, you're not selling. You're just
Yeah.
having a conversation and you're
Yeah.
building a bond. And that's what, and it's called social media, right? Social is connection, right?
Yeah.
So it's called social media. So use it. Use that media to connect socially. And it's not always about the sales talk. Sometimes it's just having conversations.
I think, yeah, and people will remember you because, oh, they said this or they did this,
Or they
and they
say
will,
happy birthday,
yeah,
for example, things like that. Someone, oh, it's my birthday today. Say happy birthday as a store. Wow. People will
yeah,
love that.
yeah, and don't do it with an automated email where
Exactly.
somebody filled in his birth date, and that doesn't work. But just message them and say happy birthday, and that's it. I mean, that's way more personal, and I think as a florist, brick and mortar store, you have to. That part is really important because people came into your store for personal help and to have a talk. And you can do that on social media as well. But do it in the same way and don't do it like, for example, the supermarket, because people are not used to that. You are talking in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think that's all, one of the most important things as well. Don't pretend that you're somebody else on social media because your current customers come to you because of you. And if you
Yes.
pretend to be somebody else, they come for somebody else and they expect something else from you as well.
And I think that goes back to that buzzword, right? When during COVID was authenticity.
Yeah,
And through authenticity, you find your voice and tone. It's important to have a voice and tone when you're doing digital marketing because you stay online, right? Especially if you have a team. But it's authenticity. When I first did U2, when we did our shows during COVID, I didn't know what I was doing. I
yeah,
just went for it.
yeah,
And didn't know what I was facing. But just kind of dropping that fear and saying I'm going to be who I am, and I have a passion and a mission to get the message out and connect with people that are looking for information and they're wondering what's happening, and keep on doing it. So
yeah,
so it's just go for it. Sometimes just jump in and hope for the best.
yeah.
Hope for the
And
best.
I know your passion is technique and new things in the floral industry. Are there some new projects you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, so super excited about that. We facilitate innovations into the flower industry and want to create a voice for them. So one is Speaking Roses that allows you to print on roses, and I just see the branding potential and the potential looking at that as a textile to create even stories within
Yeah,
bunches and poems and just so many things. From you could print a picture on a flower. It's incredible and exciting to me. Then Bloomy Pro, you might be very familiar
yeah,
with them. We're working closely with them and doing different things with them, which is really exciting. And that's a 360-degree platform that allows you to build a bouquet or arrangement using real
yeah,
flowers, and it just gives you so much information. Great tool. And then Florography, which allows you to edit pictures. So if you take a picture and you don't have a team to edit, or you're looking to build your website and need uniform pictures, it's for growers, for everybody. They go on there, and for minimal cost of under $1.75, you do a full edit within 24 to 48 hours. So,
that's
and you can
cool.
put on a white background, a lifestyle picture, and it's really our drive, innovate, connect, and bloom in the flower industry. And the connect part is to connect them to these innovations and throughout the whole entire industry, because these services and innovations and tools are only going to make us better, are
Yeah,
only going to help the industry grow. And just if we can create as a company awareness around these things and letting people know that there's these services that could save them time and make things look much better and increase sales by having a uniform look on your website, or personalizing a flower for a wedding, or talking to a ad agency to reach out to big corporate accounts, you're growing the business, you're scaling, you're having more opportunities. So that's, I could talk about that all day, because
yeah,
I just think that it's a lot of fun, it's exciting, and I'm lucky to be working with some great companies to represent them and bring awareness to innovation. It's not, we worry about the transaction of flowers very often,
Yeah.
But we forget sometimes there's a lot of things that help that transaction of flowers grow, of continuing those transactions.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool. I mean, so many new products and so many energy as well, getting those projects into the industry. And
Yes,
we need more people like you
thank you.
to get the word out,
Likewise.
especially with the transition we're in right now, going more and more to e-commerce. I
Yep.
mean, the nice thing is, or the bad thing is, we're way behind if you compare with some other industries. But the nice thing is we're way behind, so it's easier to catch up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And even with e-commerce, like I don't mean to pitch, but Bloomy Pro, for example, what's really cool, you could create your bouquet on an e-commerce site,
Yeah,
and in order so that personalization, everybody's using that buzzword, personalization, personalization. So look at things that could help you personalize or better your product or make it more enticing and more exciting. So just keep on looking, because like you and I always say, and we kind of see eye to eye, is look outside of other industries,
yeah,
and see what you could bring into your industry, from the movie film industry to their past experience of whatever you did 20 years ago or 10 years ago. You could always bring in some experience into the flower industry.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of trends are coming back as well. So, I mean, look
Yep.
at the dried flowers. I mean, the old florists were just happy that they finally didn't have to work with the dried flowers again, and now they're back again. But the fun thing is, it's with a new twist as well. So,
Yes.
and because of there's a lot of new florists coming in, making new things with it. I mean, that's really cool. And yeah, if we follow the fashion industry more and more, I think that we've got way more opportunities as well.
Yeah, and I said that for a while. The fashion industry is a great school to look at.
Yeah,
Their marketing are saying target market. It's in some cases a high end market. They're understanding it. They have an artistic flair to it. And God, I went to New York recently, and you go around New York and you see tons of stores, restaurants with silk flowers.
yeah,
So, I hope that's not a bad word talking to florists, but it's so flowers is a thing too. But you could see flowers are all over. They do these enormous arches and they decorate everything with these silk flowers. And but the flowers are in your face.
yeah,
They're in your face. They're out there, so they're doing different things. And I'm pretty sure a florist did that for them. That florist might have never touched a silk flower in her life, but that's what they needed, and so they worked with them and they did silk flowers. So that's another avenue to look at as well.
yeah,
Is that I've seen many restaurants doing that, so that it seems to be a trend that's happening, and hopefully it's a trend that stays, because it's
yeah.
still, even if it's a silk flower, it's still creating awareness for flowers.
Yeah, but what I've seen happening now as well is that they combine silk flowers with fresh
Yes,
flowers as well. So
exactly.
if there's a big event, it's quite easy to add some more fresh flowers, so it directly gives more impact.
Yep.
And for normal days, they just have the silk flowers. So combining it was something people never did 30
Hmm.
years ago when it was also popular with silk flowers.
Yep.
But now combining it can be a great thing as well.
Yep. Exactly. And it's exciting to watch. And then those trends spread because of social media.
Yeah, I mean the pampas grasses. I mean,
Boy.
they have
Yeah.
been everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's social media. I mean, that's really cool.
What they say, the power of social media gave the user of the final product, right? The florist, the voice.
Yeah,
Because back then it was more the wire services were making the decisions. I remember, many years ago, we were like, okay, what is the wire service doing? What's the wire service doing? And you'd look at the website and try to find out, and sometimes some of those flowers weren't available during
yeah,
that holiday, and everybody's going crazy trying to find something that wasn't available. So what social media did, it allowed those floral celebrities, the florists themselves, to say, this is what we're using, this is what we like. House of Petals, I believe, is their name. They're doing anthuriums that they're spraying,
yeah.
beautifully done anthuriums. And this is a florist that did it on herself, and she's selling them around the country. I am almost sure around the world. And it's amazing to watch that transition within social media and digital marketing, that she's been able to make an impact. And
Yeah.
now you see it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool in North America to see that she's doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the power of social media. So you can complain about it, that your children are always watching TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, but you can benefit from it as well. So
Yes.
just turn it around and
And
benefit
just
from.
sorry, John. Just as market research, use it as market research, and
Yeah,
I speak to the grower and the distributors and the wholesalers as a prospecting tool. You have such an amazing tool. Don't spam. Start conversations,
yeah,
follow trends, and understand what your customers are doing with your product. And you have that tool. You just have to be intentional in encouraging a culture of that for your employees, because your employees, the education they can get from following their clients on social media and digital marketing is a great. It has a great return on investment of their time to take 10 minutes to just see what their retailers are doing, or having that conversation with their retailers or their customer of their social media and what they've been doing. There's such a great return on that. So using your social media and digital marketing as a tool to prospect and to connect with your customers, going back to the conversation, is very valuable.
yeah. No, it really is. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's great talking to you, and I think we could talk for many more hours. But I think you have to go back to the
I
to
have to
the
drive
SEO.
back to Miami, so
Yeah.
I'm jumping in here I'm jumping out of here and go straight into a car to drive back to Miami. So thank you,
Okay.
and thank you again for your time and asking me on. I truly appreciate that. And the offer stands. I'm going to be sending you an email. We need to get you on to the Bloom Show soon.
Great. Would be an honor.
I appreciate you. My
Okay.
honor. It's all
Uh,
my honor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip home, and hope to see you soon.
Appreciate it. Hope to see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.